The night my father died, my stepmother told me to pack my bags and get out of his house. She had no idea about the $31 million he had spent 16 years quietly signing over to me. 9 days later, his lawyer opened a folder that ended her. Dad collapsed on a Tuesday morning. A stroke. He was gone before the ambulance reached the hospital. By 8 that evening the house was full of relatives balancing coffee cups and murmuring in the hallway. I was in the kitchen washing dishes nobody would use when Diane walked in and shut the door behind her. You should start packing, she said. I honestly thought grief had scrambled her words. Pack for what? She crossed her arms. This house is mine now, Daniel. You are 27 years old. It is time you stopped living here. My father had been dead for 9 hours. I moved into that house when I was 11, 2 years after my mother lost her fight with cancer. Diane arrived when I was 13, with her daughter Chloe and a moving truck full of new furniture. Within a year, my mother's paintings had migrated to the attic. Family photos got reprinted with me cropped to the edge. Birthday dinners happened on weekends I was conveniently away. Dad saw it. I know he saw it, because he would squeeze my shoulder afterward and say, just give her time. He hated conflict more than he hated injustice. I spent years resenting him for that. That night I did not argue with Diane. I packed one suitcase and a shoebox of my mother's letters, and I walked past a living room full of aunts and uncles who suddenly found their shoes fascinating. Nobody said a word. I was unlocking my car when my phone buzzed. It was Gerald, my father's attorney for 30 years. He said, I heard what she did. Then he said something strange. Your dad planned for this exact night. Be at my office a week from Thursday. And he hung up. For 9 days Diane lived like a widow queen. She changed the locks. She answered every condolence post online as the keeper of his memory. She planned a funeral where I sat in the third row, behind her golf friends. She never called me once. Thursday came. Gerald's conference room smelled like old paper. Diane sat at the head of the table with Chloe beside her, both dressed like they were closing on a beach house. Dad's sister Ruth patted the chair next to hers for me. Gerald read the small things first. The truck went to his oldest friend from the plant. His workshop tools went to the technical college where he taught welding on Saturdays. Then the house. The house went to Diane. She exhaled and smiled and took Chloe's hand, and for a second I watched her win. Then Gerald closed that folder and opened a second one. My client also left instructions regarding the family holding company, he said. Diane's smile flickered. What holding company? Gerald slid copies across the table. Starting 16 years ago, my father had moved his industrial supply business for commercial properties and every investment account into a trust structure with one beneficiary. Me. Transfer by transfer, signature by signature, while he was telling me to keep the peace. Current audited value, Gerald said, approximately $31 million. The room went so quiet I could hear the wall clock. Diane said, that is impossible, he would have told me. Gerald said, he was not required to. These were completed transfers, not bequests. They have been legally mine since before she ever redecorated my bedroom into a gym. Then Gerald handed me an envelope with my name in Dad's blocky handwriting. Daniel, if you are hearing this, I ran out of time to fix what I let happen under my own roof. I watched her push you to the edges of your own home, and I told myself keeping quiet kept the family together. It did not. It just kept you alone. I could not undo those years, so I built you a future she could never touch. Do not waste it trying to win her approval. She was never going to give it. Love, Dad. Diane demanded to contest. Gerald told her, calmly, that Ruth had witnessed half the signatures herself. Diane turned to Ruth and whispered, you knew? Ruth said, so did your husband. That sentence did more damage than the money ever could. In the parking lot, Diane caught my sleeve. Her voice was suddenly soft. We are still family, she said. Chloe thinks of you as a brother. I looked at her hand on my arm, the same hand that pointed me out the door 9 hours after Dad died, and I said one word. No. She called for weeks. Then her lawyer sent a letter asking if I would help with the property taxes on the house, because she could not carry it alone. I declined. 6 months later there was a for sale sign in the yard my father seated by hand. The porch swing was already gone. Her last message ever was one line. I never thought he would choose you. I read it twice, then deleted it and blocked the number. She threw me out of his house in a single night. He had spent 16 years making sure it would never matter.